Hi everybody, today I want to talk about how the body releases accumulated tension. I'm sure it's pretty unambiguous at this point if you are an adult human moving through the world, especially the world of 2020 and into 2021, that you know that your body can accumulate energy and tension in it. So I want to talk about the 5 basic ways bodies organically release accumulated tension, and then I want to give you 3 tips about how you can deliberately release tension that's accumulated in your body almost anywhere, almost any time, so long as you don't mind sometimes people looking at you a little funny for doing it. So the 5 basic ways that bodies organically release accumulated tension are movement, dissipatory, shaking it off, breath, through a vocalization, which, put a pin in that, we're going to come back to vocalization, through a spontaneous emission of heat. Sometimes stored muscles let go and then there's just blood flow into the area and heat comes waving off of the body. I see this all the time when I'm adjusting people, where I'll adjust something and then a moment later everything kind of just warms up under my hands. And then the last one is through an emotional expression or an emotional release, which could look anything from like crying or yelling to just shaking with an emotion. So some of those you may have noticed are things that you can elect to do deliberately, right? You can always move your body, right? You can choose to breathe and breathe in a specific way. You can make noise. Sometimes you can choose to have an emotional expression. If you have an emotional experience and you're inhibiting its expression, you can choose to have the expression. But if you're feeling pretty neutral at the moment, it's hard to choose to have an emotional experience, right? And the last one about dissipating heat, I've never figured out with this body how to do that on purpose. It's just a thing that spontaneously occurs sometimes. So those are the 5 basic ways that, in my experience, bodies dissipate accumulated stress and tension. And remember, stress and tension is just energy that's come into the system that has not left the system yet, right? Okay, so here are some tips about ways that you can choose to release tension when it has accumulated. And the first one is probably the most obvious, and that's moving. If you've ever seen animals like ducks in a pond or a couple of cats in the alley really get into it, and they're going at each other, and they're squabbling and they're scrapping, and eventually one of them establishes, hey, this is my turf, this is my territory, I'm the dominant one, and they both separate. And it's really clear in ducks and dogs and cats, they top down, from the tip of the nose all the way down to the tail, will just sort of shake themselves out as they stroll away. This is the nervous system resetting from that fight, conflict, fight, survive into, let me rest, digest, relax, connect with others in my pack. And humans do this too, except for like when we're in public and we don't want people looking at us funny. And so because of that, we tend to suppress our natural instinct to shake out our tension, to shift gears, because it looks weird. Unfortunate social habit. So the first tip that I want to give you is shake your body, shake your body, shake your body. So starting from the head and neck down and wiggling all the way through, see if you can just vibrate every part of you. And that kind of shaking helps dissipate muscular tension, but it can also help dissipate tension stored at a deeper level, closer into the joint, in around the nerves. And so it just starts to get us feeling back like ourselves again. It's really useful right after an emotional conflict or some kind of physical scare or something like that. But it's useful kind of all the time. If you're feeling tense, try shaking. So that's the first tip. The second tip about how you can deliberately choose to dissipate build-up tension in your body is through the breath. Focusing on the exhale, have a nice neutral, natural inhale, and then a very deliberate, focused exhale. And if you do this for a minute, you may start to notice muscles around the chest, the shoulders, the neck, the back soften a little bit. Maybe the hands start to lose their grip a little bit. And if you want to upgrade that, and again, you don't mind people looking at you kind of weird if you happen to be in public doing it, adding noise, adding vocalization. I don't really understand how and why this is true, but it seems to be pretty universally true that making a vocal expression communicates with the body that energy is to be released. Ask any martial artist about the Kia vocalization they do when they're striking something. There are traditions about what noises to make when you're doing a punch or a kick in order to get the energy to move. So that's true if you're punching things, but it's also true of just like, oh, I'm so bound up here. And sometimes that works. So just making a noise, especially a noise that expresses how the place feels, if the place is feeling really tight and bound, might be the noise at first. So experimenting with letting your body make noise to release tension can be really powerful. The third tip for releasing tension is actually, maybe I'm cheating, it's a combination of all of the ones we've talked about so far. If you're feeling real stressed or really bound up, or like you've just accumulated so much tension that you don't really know what to do with it to start it moving, breathing, deliberately focusing on the exhale, making noise on the exhale, and trying to move the parts that feel stuck and sticky all at once. Looks really silly. It looks really silly. And if you want to do this on public transportation when that's available, or if you're out in public at a park or at a grocery store, like, expect to get looked at funny. But if you want to just do this in the privacy of your own home and you notice you're embarrassed to do it, that's a great indicator that you need to do it. That your body is so habitually storing tension that the idea of releasing the tension makes you uncomfortable. That's a really good sign that some of that tension needs to be released. So I invite you, if you are at home alone and there's nobody to catch you at it, right now, just start moving a part of your body, shaking everywhere, breathing with the focus on the exhalation, and then make a noise on the exhale. You may find stuff. Okay, well, and it lets go. So these are the ways that the body's release tension: movement, breath, noise, spontaneous heat release, and an emotional expression. And the ways that you can produce some of those effects for yourself are by deliberately moving, breathing, and exhaling, particularly with a mind to expressing vocally how your body feels. Can't do much about spontaneous heat, except to notice, oh, that part warmed up when I did that. Cool, on the right track. I really hope this is helpful for you. I would love to hear about your experiences of it. If you know of other ways that your body releases tension when something lets go, and please tell me about it in the comments. I'm fascinated to hear. These are just my generalizations so far, but all generalizations are true until they aren't. And if this helps you, if this is useful for you, please like and subscribe on my YouTube channel. Sign up for my mailing list. All of the links for all my social media and stuff like that are in the comments below. And thank you so much for your time today. I hope you have a bright, shiny, and healthy day. Take care.